How many of you have heard of Jared Spool? A number of you. Excellent. I love Jared. He's actually a friend of mine. And he has an article out on his website, and if you're interested, tweet it, and I'll read it, and I'll post a link. I'll tweet a link. But he says a metric is something you can measure, right? Okay, makes sense. But just because you can measure it, it doesn't mean that it's informative. And one of the biggest mistakes I see content people making, and I'll say, while I do not come from the marketing side of the house, I see it on the marketing side, and I do come from the technical side of the house, and I see it even more, shockingly, on the technical side. I think we get very wrapped around numbers, and it's like, oh, I'm giving a number. I'll let them figure out what it means. But if it's 50%, I gave you a number, right? Well, what does that even mean? In fact, the one I love the most is we have, now I'm being recorded, and I know that there's going to be somebody from IBM that watches this later who calls me on this number. So I think we have something like 30 million plus hits per month on our information, our knowledge center, which is our consolidated integrated documentation platform, delivery mechanism. And we talk about that number a lot. I mean, that is so huge for us. This is such a successful platform because we have 30 million hits. To me, that number actually means something else. It means our products are awful, right? And here's this documentation, 30 million unique visitors. 30 million unique visitors to our technical documentation over a few thousand products. So let's say we have 3,000 products and 30 million unique visitors. If we just average those hits, those visitors over those products, I'm saying those people need a lot of help using those products. So is that a positive piece of information or a negative piece of information? And is it really either one? Again, I would argue all it's telling me is we have 30 million discrete hits on our knowledge center. Now, extrapolating from that, I think you need more information, right? I think you need information about why people are there. I think you need information about where people are coming from. I think you need information about how long they're staying. Now, if I get a more comprehensive picture of that, then we might have informative and not just measurable. And that's a big problem that I see with us, with content people in the metric space. I'm not sure exactly where it comes from, but it's a problem that I see. So what is effective content? And I talked about this a little bit in the keynote. I think it's content that is moving the content consumer successfully through their journey. And that success has two dimensions to it. There's business success, which is, yeah, we got somebody from try to buy. That's really good for IBM. That's a business success. There's user or content consumer success, where I feel like I'm moving through the journey and getting my questions answered, getting my goals met, whatever those are, right? So if my goal is to understand enough about this product to decide if I want to make a purchase decision, then when I move from try to buy, I've also met my goal. I've succeeded in selecting a product, right? So there's a couple of different dimensions to that, and effectiveness has to take into account both of those things. Sometimes success for a client might actually send them from try to buy someone else. That would not be effective content. Now, there may have been something that wasn't content that steered them off that journey, back to the discussion of how good are our products if we have 30 million hits on our documentation. But if we put a very kind of rigorous black and white definition around effectiveness, this is our definition. So there are some characteristics of effective content. And as marketing people, you guys probably know more about some of these characteristics than I do. Things like reach and awareness. This is right up your alley, right? This is your bailiwick. And so thinking about how to measure content around reach and awareness and engagement, I know actually a little something about engagement because we do think about engagement from a post-sales content perspective. Satisfaction, we think about satisfaction from a post-sales content perspective a lot, right? Value, we think about the value of our content a lot. But some of these things, again, specifically about in terms of reach and awareness, I think we have a lot to learn from you about measuring that, about understanding what that really means. And if it's really just about eyeballs, again, my question to a marketing person, and you guys could probably answer this for me, and if you can, meet me for lunch, is what is really the impact of a reach number, right? So I get in front of 5 million people. 5 million eyeballs have seen this. 30 million plus unique visitors. So they've all seen Knowledge Center. Does that actually mean something to a marketing person by itself? Right? Is that really a useful number? I've never heard, no one's ever been able to explain it to me in a way that it's a useful, independent number. And so we look at all of these things together as content effectiveness. Not, well, if you have a certain reach number, you can say your content is effective. Or if you have a certain value measure, because it's usually not a number. If you have a certain value measure, that's effective content. My definition says you've got to have some level of all of these things for your content to be effective. So effective content is a very complex concept.